how Wet and Wild used to be?
Yes, long strokes. Y'all know Wet and Wild had a pencil sticking out.
Wait, you can have threes?
Oh my gosh.
Different brands.
How many are you gonna do?
You can mix them?
things do you mean?
You can, though. They're
Wait.
doing it to make money. Come on.
Yeah.
Who's making money though?
Not me. I have been not making money
Oh,
this
here we
last
go.
year.
No, I was with Marva at Long Strokes buying Wet and Wild. For 99 cents.
Oh, you know, I'm open for lunch dates. I'm open for this, and I have the vaccine.
Yes.
You're watching this one day. I'm gonna get everyone to come to a show, no makeup on, and we're gonna do the show while we apply our makeup.
Yeah. But my mom is very natural too.
What do you think, Marva?
Like,
Marva,
no.
we're gonna be sick that day.
Welcome to this week's episode of Girl Time in Reno. I'm Laura Garcia, and I'm here with my lovely co-hosts. We have Marva Elaine, Shonda, our special guest today, Carrie McLeod, and then we have Leela. So let's just hop right into it, Carrie. Will you take a moment and introduce yourself to the ladies? They are new to meeting you.
Yes. Hi, ladies. I'm
Hi.
so excited to be here. I am definitely a fan of the show.
Oh, yay!
I've been watching it, so when she called me or texted me, I was like, it wasn't even a question. I was like, yes, I'll be there, definitely. What do you need from me? But yes, I'm Carrie McLeod. I'm a wedding planner right here in Reno. I'm good friends with Laura, and so I'm just excited to be here.
Yeah. What's the name of your event planning company?
We are She Said Yes Weddings.
Awesome.
I love
Yeah.
that.
So the reason I invited Carrie onto the show was because we were having a really interesting conversation about what wedding season is going to look like this
Yeah.
year, because we're in a really interesting geographical location, being on both Nevada and California sides with Lake Tahoe. So she had a lot of good skinny on all the situations.
Nice.
So share for our viewers, what's the latest with social gatherings and
Yeah.
restrictions? What are weddings looking like this season?
It is so confusing. That is the best thing to say. There is no one-way answer. I feel like no matter where you are, whether it's on the Nevada side or the California side, because we're so intertwined, I feel like it's just kind of all over the place. But what should be happening is in Nevada, we're at 50%, so you can have 50% gatherings now.
50% capacity?
Capacity. Yeah. So whatever your capacity is, 50% or up to 250 people.
That's huge.
That's huge.
Wait, I like
That's-
that. Or 250.
Yeah, so if you have a venue of 10,000, essentially you could have 250 people.
Wow.
So for the wedding world, that's huge because most of our weddings are between 100 and 150 people. So we should be doing weddings. The problem is that word social distancing. And so that's where it gets kind of
Wait, what
difficult.
does that mean?
That
How do you
means,
do that?
yeah, so you can't dance and social distance. So you can't go get crazy on the dance floor and social distance. So that's where a lot of the struggle is because every venue interprets it differently.
Is there
So-
an actual mandate that says, okay, so you can
There's
have
not.
up to 250, but you have to social distance? Or is it more like the venues, because of liability, they're saying, hey, you can have your event here, but you have to social distance?
So there's this little black line at the very bottom of guidelines that says mandates are still in effect kind of thing of you should still be practicing social distancing, you should still be wearing masks where it's applicable, those kind of things. So venues see that and they take it as, oh my gosh, we can't dance, we still have to have 6 feet apart in tables. Now, mind you, they all rode in taxis to get there. They all got on a plane to fly here.
Right.
All of those things. So it really makes zero sense, and it's very frustrating
Right.
for the industry because there is no clarity.
Yeah,
there's a
even if you go to
guideline, but
restaurant.
it makes no sense. Yeah, because you can go to a
And
restaurant,
the tables aren't 6 feet apart.
and I can sit with whoever I want. But in California, the rule is you can only have a ceremony with 3 households.
Okay,
That's where it is at today.
So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
the other requirement was Nevada,
Yeah.
250. What are California's requirements? for
California,
weddings?
as of this morning, they're in the red tier, which means that they can have 25% indoor dining, and this is the kicker. So you can go eat with 25% of capacity, but you can only have 3 households at a ceremony to get married, and no food and beverage.
Yeah.
So basically, you can get married, but no eating and drinking. So get married, go home.
With
But go to the
three
restaurant
households.
down the street
But
where
go
they
to
can do 25% capacity, but no dancing,
With
no
strangers.
anything. With strangers.
Strangers.
Yeah.
It's purposeful. It's
Also,
purposeful.
California, okay, crazy one.
Yeah.
They actually wrote in that you cannot scream or laugh loudly on roller coasters.
How do you not do that?
How do you not do that?
Yeah, I mean,
I was like, well, I'm in trouble. Me and Shonda are in for it.
yeah. I'm too scared to go on those anyway, so you won't even catch me on those. But if I was, I would be crying and screaming and probably doing a lot of other
So
things.
what would happen like if I had my
Yeah.
daughter got married or Marvel got one of her sons got married? And we paid for all this. You're not going to tell me we can't.
It's a private event. It's
Like,
It
who's
is.
going to tell me I can't?
Also, there you go. And so,
exactly. I'm like, it's a private event. Like, we pay for this.
It's a private event at a public venue. That's the kicker. So now if it's at your house, do what you want, girl. Do it, party it up, and I'll be there doing it with you.
Thank you.
If it's a public event or a venue space, you have to follow the guidelines.
It feels so purposeful.
Oh,
it feels like they're doing it. I don't know. It feels like they're doing it to crush spirits. Let's crush the people.
No,
let's take
Shonda,
away.
they're doing it to make money. Come on.
Yeah.
Who's making money though?
Not me. I have been not making money this last year.
Okay,
I was like, give me your time because
who's profiting during this?
Not the wedding industry.
Amazon
Making the
Amazon.
ventilators, the masks,
Yep.
Bezos.
the vaccines.
Think about all the signs now that are storefronts.
Yes.
Like all those
Printing.
little printing, like clear signs that are everywhere, like mask required. You can't come in here unless, are you feeling ill? And it's like,
The healthcare industry, do you know how many government subsidies they're getting for however many COVID patients they have?
I
or
knew
their
that.
COVID wings?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of money involved in COVID, and unfortunately, small businesses and medium-sized businesses are getting left behind.
yeah.
That is awful.
And there's no, in me, common sense behind any of it.
No.
Like none. Again, I can sit here among friends that I don't sit in the same house live in the same house, but I can't go to a wedding and enjoy a great moment with people.
Right. Well, and there would be somebody watching this who might say, oh my gosh, those women are on a couch together, they're not masked. But if we had food in front of us, we'd be fine.
We'd be fine.
We'd be fine.
Bring the Corona and the chips,
you know,
and we'll be good.
That's what we have to do.
Next
We've
episode,
already done that.
Corona and salsa. Yeah, so it is a little frustrating in that sense. But a lot of good is happening, even in all of that. I just want to point that out too, that there are a lot of good things.
So what's the good that's happening?
I think, because things have gone small and intimate, I think it has brought back the reason people are getting married. And a lot of the fluff is gone. So a lot of like, hey, I don't care that we're saying vows, I just want to go over to the bar. And so now because we can't do those things, a lot of emphasis is put back on the I do's and, oh, my grandma can be there, and all of those things that are so special that I think we overlook a lot of times, and just all the fluff. And so if there's a positive to that, I'm seeing a lot of that come back, and people are like, that is the most important thing to me. So thank you 2020 for that.
Yeah,
I love
Yeah, especially in a world where divorces are so high, we should be putting a lot of emphasis on that 20-30 minutes.
Yeah.
We should be.
I wonder if in, say, 5 years we're going to see a decline in divorces because the people getting married who would normally get divorced maybe...
Girl, I'm believing for it, and you've probably seen my social media posts. I keep saying that the couples that have gone through this, their marriages are going to be unbelievable because in a year, they're not even married yet. They've gone through furloughs. Some people's lost their homes. They've lost family members.
So right.
They have been locked in, like some of my clients are in studio apartments in the Bay Area every day, all day. And I'm like, guys, if you can make it through all of that, you're unbreakable. Watch out, world statistics are going away.
Yeah,
I'm a believer of that. So
yeah, you brought up an interesting point, Shauna, that if you, as the mother of the bride, were paying for something. So for you, Carrie, how many mothers of the brides have you been dealing with this past year? What's that been like? Because as the wedding planner, you're kind of at the forefront of handling all of the vendors, all of the deposits, all of the clients, not only the clients but the family members.
I think, so we've been dealing with a lot, and I'm going to say dealing because we have been dealing with that. Ironically enough, like during planning, we don't see the grooms a lot. Like guys just don't get involved.
Right.
Oh,
but now that all the money's involved and we're talking deposits being lost, those grooms are calling us like hotcakes. And I'm like, I don't want to talk to him. He's mean. Like he's aggressive. But they're really concerned because they're more about the financial side.
Sure.
Where our brides and stuff are more about the pretty and like, I'll talk to him later. We'll make it happen. Let me just work my magic. Where now they're like, you're telling me I'm losing how much? But our moms, I think, are more heartbroken. That's the thing. Because they've waited their whole life to see their daughter and they've put a lot of emotion into it. And I think that's what we're seeing from our moms. It's not the angry like the grooms as much. It's the emotional. It's like their heart breaks for their daughters.
They don't
and
get
their sons.
they don't get to see that same experience that they went through.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and I'm sure as the attendance list shrinks, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, moms childhood friends, best friends, that they kind of sneak in on the list because they want to be a part of the event.
Well, I always joke, there's the guest list and then there's the mom's list. Because moms want to party too. Moms have had these girlfriends and seen their kids grow up, and it's the mom's list. And I'm like, okay, let's get all them together and have them sitting in the same place. And it's fun. It's so much fun, but it is heartbreaking for the moms, for
That's
sure.
so funny you say that because I had shared here that both my daughters, they're in relationships, right? And they both picked out the same dress, right?
No way.
So I had planned out myself. I got my laptop or whatever it is, and I'm looking at venues, I'm doing all that, and I had a mom's list. I thought that was just me.
Nope, it's a thing.
Yeah,
it is
I
a
didn't
thing.
know that.
Yep.
And Girls Talking Reno was on that list.
Yes, of course.
I can talk about this.
I was like, catch me at the table.
Because you want to share that with your friends, right?
Yeah, and especially those friends that have been there since birth. They are a second mom. They're a second family. I mean, I have people in my life that are my, friends with my parents that I consider them parents in a lot of ways. And it's heartbreaking when you have to cut that list. And we've had a lot of tears on the phone of like, I know this is going to be hard. You had a 250-person wedding, but let's go ahead and start cutting that list just in case. And here we are, and we're implementing that list.
Is there any end in sight?
I don't know. I'm going to be honest. That's my number one answer for 2020.
Right.
I'm like taught my whole life customer service. Don't ever say I don't know. Don't say I don't know. Find an answer or figure it out.
Right.
That's my answer. I don't know. I think Nevada is on a good track. I honestly think we are. And I think the longer the vaccine, no matter where you stand on the vaccine, this is not a political, like my view, but I think the longer it's out, it's going to get comfortability to people.
The more you see,
And I think that's where it
subsides.
subsides. And for me, I'm like, again, I don't care where you stand on that, but if that's what gets me back to work, cool.
I'm hearing that, like you just said, because people are saying, oh, I'm open for lunch dates, I'm open for this, and I have the vaccine.
Yes. Well, that's something that we're seeing in the
But
industry.
you know what's now happening?
It's
Which
like,
one?
you don't have to be afraid of me.
People ask, which one,
COVID.
Marva? Which vaccine do you have? Because which
card are you
brand,
flashing?
right?
Johnson
And now the
Johnson.
cool thing is if you've had all three of the big ones.
Wait, you can have
What?
three?
Oh my
There's
gosh.
different brands.
How
Some
many
people
are you
only
gonna
want
do?
every brand.
You
Yeah.
can mix those?
things do you need?
You honestly,
I wouldn't
listen.
advise getting-
Here's the thing. Unfortunately, some common sense is not as common
Right.
as we
Right.
think, and
Yeah.
it's like a badge. It's really like you said. No matter what, if it's political, whatever my view is on it, if people feel safer, here's what's going to happen. Your
Yeah.
stress is down,
Yes.
and your health is a little bit
Right.
better. Your immune system's going to do better, and we can all keep it pushing.
Right, it's like the
Yeah.
industry
Yeah.
of insurance, right? There are people, even in Nevada, who get maybe, hurricane insurance, right? Or
Sure.
I guarantee
Just in case Lake
there are
Tahoe
some people
overflows.
out there, right? So there are those that are going to do the minimum. There are those that are going to do none.
Yeah.
They're going, I don't need insurance. There are those who are going to go, I'm just going to get the minimum, or like the required. And then there are those who are like, give me hurricane, tornado, earthquake, flood, give it to
Right.
me all.
Yeah, give it to
So-
me all.
I see a lot of people, a lot of hope, just like industries in general across, even in the United States and outside of the United States, 2022. I love concerts and music shows, and everything is focused on 2022.
I know.
Yeah.
That's so.
And
It's like,
unfortunately.
how are these guys and girls like? Musicians have to make money too.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, these entertainers have to make money. They have to be on stage, and
Right.
they make their money in merch.
And I think that's one thing to look at. And I think we did that in 2020. We just kind of washed it and just
Yeah.
kind of set it aside. And I think as an industry or whatever industry you're in, you've got to step up and speak up. And you did that the other day about, hey, the salons. And we need to be able to say we're not washing 2020 away.
Yeah.
We can look forward to 2022 where it might be a little bit easier, but there are things that have to happen in 2021. And industries need to survive, right? So
Yes,
as people,
yes,
we need to
yes.
step up and start going to these restaurants. We need to start going and supporting all these businesses, concerts, in whatever capacity that looks like. But don't wash 2021 away like we did.
I agree.
Well, we are nearing the end of this segment, and so if we were to wrap it up, I know that Leela has referenced before that her two sisters are now engaged.
Yay!
Congrats!
Oh my gosh, and they're identical twins. Talk about double
Oh, I
trouble.
love
Yeah.
that.
Wow.
I love
Are they
that.
getting married at the same time?
Okay, so no.
I have to
So
ask.
as much as they're identical twins, of course they're engaged at the same time. That would never not happen with their partners.
Yeah.
They know what's up. But one of them is like, I was surprised. She's planning for June 2022, and the other one, she's a lawyer, very very independent and crazy in her career right now. So they're gonna do a destination wedding.
Cool.
So if you had, Carrie, one piece of advice to wrap up the segment, if you had one piece of advice for those that are newly engaged, what is your sound piece of advice? We have 60 seconds.
Okay, I got this. My piece of advice would be, one, is find a good planner. I mean, and I'm not just selling myself, but just in general, because there are so many changes and there's so many new modifications. It is so important to have a professional on your side. I think that's the key. And then the other side too is keep an open mind. Things are different, and we can recognize that or not recognize that, but they are different, and we have to be flexible in that. So find a good planner and be flexible.
I love it. Well, thank you so much
for
joining
having
us.
me. Yeah.
And we'll be right back with segment 2 of this week's episode of Girl Time in Reno. Welcome back to Girl Time in Reno. I'm Laura Garcia, your co-host today, here with my phenomenal cast. We have Marva Elaine, Shonda, Carrie, and Leela. So thank you for joining us again today. For our second segment, we're going to be talking about beauty, because for those who know and love me, I am all things beauty. I love it. And, you know, beauty has such a huge role in our lives, and there's so much value to it. And I was thinking that it would be really interesting to talk about how we were first introduced to beauty, because that really does shape a lot of our ideas about it. You know, who bought you your first makeup? How did you learn your makeup skills? You know, how do you learn today? And so if we could just dive right in. Marva, for you, do you remember how old you were when you got your first makeup and who bought it for you?
You know what? For African Americans, we don't really get into makeup that early. We'll put on some lipstick and some eyeliner, and we will think we are ready to rock the night.
Yes.
Like, we have done it. My face is on. Okay, so it was probably lipstick, eyeliner, you know.
So what age was that?
That was probably about 15, 16,
Yeah.
you know, and you just thought you was hot stuff. And I was so into matching every color lipstick with whatever color I had on, right? So, and my mom would be like, some colors just don't look good on you. I go, but it matches. So, it wasn't until I went to beauty school, you know, that I really got into makeup and started seeing the artistry behind it. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. This takes too long. You know, I was like, y'all, all day, every day, like, this is too much. So, but it wasn't until then, and then not until my later 20s when I started applying the whole face myself.
Yeah. Do you remember who bought you your first makeup? Did you buy it for yourself? The lipsticks
I probably
and the
bought it
eyeliner?
for myself. Y'all know Wet and Wild used to be
Yes.
long strokes. Y'all know Wet and Wild had the pencil sticking out and the color lipstick.
What? I
All
that.
99 cents.
Yes.
Did you buy it from Thrifty's Drugs?
Yeah, long drugs.
Lugs.
Oh my
Thrifty's
gosh. Oh my
Longs.
gosh.
Remember Longs? Yeah, right there.
I think there's still one down in Mammoth, California.
Really?
Wow.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. How about you, Shonda?
She's Miss Glam.
Oh,
Let's hear
thank
this.
you.
Let's hear
I've
it.
always been into makeup.
Yeah.
My mother was a, you know, she's an actress, model. She ended up professionally being a nurse. She was in a lot of the beach movies in the 60s, early 60s. So I grew up with that. I had an aunt who was very glamorous. And so my Aunt Madeline, it's so funny, she was the very first woman I ever saw that wore jeans.
Really?
Yeah, because this was back in the 70s. You know. So, but anyways, so I always grew up with women like that, and I've always loved glamour and Marilyn Monroe and makeup. So
What's your first memory of makeup for yourself?
Oh God, I was probably like a toddler. I mean, I was always in my mother's makeup, and so it wasn't until I became a mom myself that I stopped using a lipstick brush. You know, because my mother she always had her makeup on, and I was always fascinated with all of that. I felt that was part of the nicety of being a woman. So I've always loved that. I do carry a lipstick brush with me, and sometimes I have a Chanel compact, and so sometimes I'll pop that open, and like in my, my lipstick brush, and I'll put that on. I'll feel real bougie and stuff. But no, I've always loved makeup. When I lived in Hawaii and I was a hippie, because I was a hippie, I didn't wear makeup then for about 7-8 years. I mean, I did, but not like I do now back on the mainland, because I love it so much.
Yeah.
I love makeup.
I do too.
Did your mom buy your makeup for you? Did she show you
No, I was
how
with
to...
Marva at Long's Drugs buying Wet and Wild. For 99 cents!
I love it. I love it.
Some way, somehow, we were going to have it.
Yeah, we were going to have it.
Okay.
But I remember I've always worked. I've shared this before. I've always worked. And when I was in foster care, I said, I am never going to wear drugstore makeup again. I turned 16. I said, I'm never going to do that again. And I had made that personal agreement to myself. And I worked, and I bought my first purchase of makeup for myself was I was 16 years old. I can't remember where I purchased it, but it was Clinique mascara. And I have never purchased drugstore makeup since. Since I was 16, I've always, so I wear everything matte, everything, but I wear La Mer. That's my cream.
I love it.
Nice.
Thank you for sharing. It's so interesting to hear.
It is.
Yeah. How about you, Carrie? Did anyone show you how to do your makeup? How did you learn how to apply it?
I will tell you, I'm the biggest tomboy you're ever going to meet. So it's really weird to even be sitting here with curls and like that. But in my professional life, I wear it and get dolled up. But if you catch me on the street, most likely I'm in a hoodie and a ball cap. That's like my favorite thing. But growing up, I had an older sister who was super glam, kind of like what you're saying. And she was always... everything was on point, and I just remember thinking as a little girl, I'm 2 years younger, and I'm like, I am never gonna be like that. I don't want to wear it. It's weird. Boys are weird. Like I just was so opposite of the girly girl, and that's how I lived my life. I didn't really start dabbling in it until I was like in college, and some of my roommates were like, you should totally do this and do that, and I'm like, okay, and they just started like putting stuff on me, and I still will tell you today that I feel like an amateur. I'm 43 and still feel like I have no idea what I'm doing. I just kind of throw it on.
Well, you look beautiful.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you look great.
It's like you do it for you. Like how you do it.
I do. And it's for me, like I'm totally comfortable though going out to dinner on a date with my husband. Completely nothing.
Yes,
and I can glam up or be down and I feel just as confident. So I definitely think I'm a rarity in that. Like makeup doesn't define me, it doesn't make me feel better, but I do it a lot just because of the industry, it's so visual, and I don't want somebody to be scared if I walk in and they're like, whoa, like kind of thing. I do it more
there are some expectations.
Yeah, there is expectations. And so that's why I do it. But honestly, everyday life, I'd be okay in a ball cap and a hoodie and nothing on my face.
Sometimes I don't wear makeup. I showed up at a Safe Embrace board meeting without my face on, and I even said, I don't have my eyeballs on.
That gives me hope for you coming here.
I know. She told us, she's like, oh, I don't know if I can do that.
Yes, I have plans. If you're watching this, one day I'm going to get everyone to come to a show with no makeup on, and we're going to do the show while we apply our makeup.
Yeah. But my mom is very natural too.
What do you think, Marva?
Marva's
We're going to be sick that day.
The gracious ladies are sick.
They're sick.
So, Leela, how about you? I know that you've mentioned before that you also are kind of a tomboy.
Yes. So what Marva said is accurate. You don't really see. Actually, I'm gonna tell you. What you see is hair. I see. That was what I learned first about hair.
Yes.
And
you gotta say it like that. Hair.
Truly, my auntie. I remember that's my first like real memory because my auntie was always like changing her wigs. I mean, she's still styling. She's got it. And I remember watching her and my mom getting ready. Like they're getting out, they're going out, and they're going upstairs in the attic, and they're changing all these shoes. I mean, and that's my first memory. But my mom was always so, and to this day, I still show up, you guys, I won't say the best dressed, but overdressed. Or I'm always showing up for an occasion now. I'm like, but that's because she wanted us to be represented.
Wonderful.
In a certain way. She wanted us to be able to like be presentable in certain ways. And not because like we weren't presentable in our natural state, but she just really wanted to be able to, honestly, because we already get put into a box. So she really was like, I want to change that. So my mom shows up like that too. But real beauty, like me understanding like what it meant to me, didn't happen until my 20s, like late 20s. I was a tomboy. I went to high school. If you caught me in high school, I had to dress up for game days. That's it. Every other time, I was wearing slides, my leggings, and all I did was practice, work, practice, work. Because I played sports.
Yeah.
So you don't really, put on makeup. I'm not like dissing on anybody, but it made no sense for me to put that on because I'm sweating it off. I'm rubbing on everybody else's jerseys. I am the girliest tomboy there is. They do exist.
I love that.
Yeah, I was like, I love to get glammed up and I love being a girl, but I am down and dirty as it gets. I backpack, I mountain climb, I ride horses. I've helped birth animals. Like I can do it all for that. So.
That went to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
No, really. I was like, it goes everywhere. So that's why I.
Well, you're so beautiful. I don't know that you need a lot of makeup.
But aren't we all beautiful?
Well, we're all beautiful, of course. But you're very naturally beautiful.
I appreciate that.
My oldest daughter, Ileana, is a natural beauty. Yeah. And sometimes if she puts on too much makeup, it's like.
So that's what I learned.
So much makeup.
I learned that, and I used to think makeup was a mask, and a lot of the women I was around kind of used it. The way that they spoke about it, it was like a mask. It was hiding. It was hiding things, right? And especially as I'm biracial. My scars and things like my pigmentation can really go back and forth sometimes. And I honestly have come to embrace that, especially with having lupus. When I had a rash that covered my face right before an interview. Wow. And I was like, what am I gonna do? I'm like, this is an interview. This is like big for my career. I have to go to this. I strutted it. And now, ever since that kind of happened, I was like, this is my natural state. I'm still beautiful with this rash on my face. Yeah. And I'm going to wear it. That's also why I can't wear makeup all the time. I have to be careful.
That is so interesting. So as growing up, we were always taught to have our hair done. So African American, we're going to have our hair together. Okay? That hair was never out of place. And so we were taught, in my family, we're very, very, very girly. And so we were taught that, like my husband now, my boyfriend, as we were dating, he could not see me without my hair done, without me being dressed to the T. And so I remember him coming over one day and I was like, no, don't come over because I just took my hair down. And my aunt was there. My aunt, he was like, Gray, I want to see you, right? So he comes over and my aunt literally sat him down on the doorstep. She said, hold on, she'll be ready in just a moment. And he was like, but I want to see her undone. And she's like, y'all get married, you'll see that plenty enough. So when we got married, I kept up that, like he would try to sneak up on me at home so he could see me. And I would hear that door and I would run upstairs, and so he's like, I don't ever see you just lay down. Right. So I think it's awesome that, and he was like, you're beautiful. He tells me I'm just as beautiful when I'm made up as he does when I'm not. And I tell him, I said, that really helps my self-esteem because you want to keep, my husband is fine. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I want to keep his attention. Yeah. So, but that is so important. But I remember when I got sick that I had these big dark circles under my eyes and I was so unhappy with myself. And I looked in the mirror and I was like, I hate myself. And I went to the counter and I go, look at me, fix this. And my bathroom started looking like a scientist lab. And I had to put on all the red correction before I applied this. And I was doing all this and it became to be so overwhelming for me that finally, I had to just stop. And I was like, no makeup. If it means this much, you need to begin to love yourself wherever you are, whatever stage you are. And I was like, and let's work on the beauty inside.
Yes. Right.
Yes. That even when you walk out the door and you look like this, that people will stop and say, you are a beautiful person. Right. Because they sense that beauty from the inside. But I had to do that and it was hard. Yeah. And I didn't wear makeup until that healed in me because oh my gosh, y'all, I was just doing it looked like a science lab.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing about makeup, right? Like with anything, whether it's guns, right? Guns are neutral. They can be used by good people, by bad people. They can be a sign of protection or they can be a threat. Makeup is kind of that same way. Yeah. I really believe that makeup enhances our natural beauty, right? And there's a time and place for makeup. But it's really interesting, even being a makeup artist, I've had people say to me, well, Laura, sometimes you go out without makeup on and you're a makeup artist. You need to represent yourself. You need to represent the industry. And I said, I disagree.
Yeah. Wait, how did you do
respectfully.
That? No. We can all do that.
No.
Well, I think too is kind of what you were talking about. I think when you have such a like deep joy within inside yourself, that just overflows naturally, and I think that's where the beauty comes from. And you said something too about, oh, you don't need makeup, you know, you look beautiful without it, and that triggers such an insecurity for me from when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah, and nothing terrible, but I just think as a kid, people would say, oh, Carrie, you just have this natural coloring and you just don't need it, but me, I need, and it always made me feel less than.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
we're all beautiful.
Yeah,
we're all beautiful. And again, it's enhancing our natural beauty. There's a time and place for makeup. And that's what I said to this person. I said, I disagree. I think there's a time and place for makeup. Just like there's a time and place for a fancy dress or workout clothes or whatever. It's, you know, there is a time and place for makeup. And we're running out of time, but I just have to tell like my proud mommy moment. So with our team, we have an on-location hair and makeup team that goes on location for events, and we had an artist who I was trying out for the team. She wanted to do the team, and I had never seen her work, so I said, okay, I'll tell you what, I'll hire you to go do my little sister's hair and makeup for a dance at my mom's house, and they were in high school. My daughter was about 4 at the time, and so on Saturdays, my mom watches my daughter, so she was there as this artist came to the house to do the girl's hair and makeup, and afterwards I talked to the artist. I said, how did it go? And she goes, I just have to tell you how wonderful your daughter is and how precious. She goes, I was doing your sister's makeup, and your daughter, so she woke up from her nap and she came over to the artist and she tugged on her shirt and she said, excuse me, this little 4-year-old, little brunette little girl, right? And the artist looked at her and said, yes. And she said, when you're done, will you enhance my natural beauty?
That is so cute.
And I was like, oh. And so she said, I just want to tell you you're a good mom. And that was just so precious. And so it's just one of those moments, you know, that I think we all have as moms. But I was like, wow, I feel really proud that in my industry, I am, you know, using my powers for good, you know? And because our industry, the beauty industry, sometimes even myself as a makeup artist, I've kind of gone, what am I doing? Like, how am I changing the world? How am I contributing? Because there is a side of our industry that can be very superficial, vanity driven, right? That I think encourages this idea of women looking a certain way that I don't agree with. But then there's this other beautiful side where we get to love on women, we get to help boost their confidence, we get to see them at their most vulnerable and speak truth and light and love into them. And so, you know, for me, that's what this industry is about. So thank you for taking this journey on the second segment with me and really opening up and talking about, you know, what has shaped your views of hair and makeup. And I look forward to many more discussions with you. And that wraps up our second segment of this week's Girl Time in Reno, and we will be back shortly. Thank you for joining us for our last segment of this week's Girl Time in Reno episode. I'm excited this week to catch up with our ladies. So Marva, what's been going on with you?
Look, my family right now is about to go on a trip, and they are leaving me behind.
Oh, where are they going?
Go with them, girl.
They're going to Vegas. They're on spring break, and so you all, I'm up for a really big promotion.
Oh, good for you! Congratulations.
And my whole team. So there's different ones on my team that are up for promotion, and it was one of those times that we've talked about that I had to make the decision to not go. So now you all know how I am about my family.
I know.
This is like the first trip without me, and I'm like, I hope you all miss me. I hope you, but we're doing great. Our team is doing great. We're still operating at such a high percentage, and our theme for this year is being, becoming the unimaginable and doing the unthinkable. So I have to push, and I have to build, and I have to sacrifice, right? Because you can't have, you know, if you always do what you've always done, you always get what you always got. So with a theme like that, we are really, really working hard, and so that's what we're doing, and so pretty excited about it, but like no sleep, watching numbers. Pray for
on
me.
the hustle.
Yeah.
You got this.
Yeah, way to represent for your team. Leadership through example is hard sometimes, right?
Absolutely, it's a big sacrifice, you know, but I love them, you know. I love them working on legacy for my family, so it's like, you know what, it's just what I have to do, and I'm so grateful I have a family that understands, you know, and they're being very supportive. They're older too, so, you know, the kids, so they're just like, all right, Mom, we're going to miss you, bye.
Well, thanks for the catch up.
though,
I love that we're doing these weekly catch-ups. I love it. So, Leela, catch us up with you, girl.
Okay, so real talk, one thing I want to share this week is solidarity among our communities. We have had a lot of things going on, and my prayers and energy goes out to the families and the women that have been affected by the tragedies that have happened.
Okay, go deeper. Give us deeper.
So, I don't have exact numbers, but at this point, it was 8 Asian women were targeted at different spas and salons throughout the Atlanta area. And not just them were affected, but there was some mass shootings. And there has been a very big upheaval of this happening. Hate crimes, let's call it what it is. These are hate crimes. And so I just want to send a message of solidarity to my Asian brothers and sisters that are out there, and we really do have to come together and see where these things are happening. And it's not something that has just been happening, but it is something that needs to be highlighted on, and we need to come together and show that kind of love. So this week, I really do take a lot of what is going on in the world, and I really do apply it to how I can grow and into what I want to do to add value to the world. So right now, all my energy is kind of channeled into that and into some more things that are going on in our community, as far as legislature and some things currently with different projects of this construction and different areas of the town. So nothing else too much going on. Personally, I have been taking a big step back and really focusing on my startup and all my projects. So
we cannot wait to hear more about it.
And
more good stuff to come, I'm sure.
I really honestly have to thank all of you for helping me channel in and focus to the things that I want to align with in my life. And I want to say it's okay to do what's best for you, and you should fight like hard for anything that you are working on, because if you aren't doing it, nobody else is going to do it for you. And that's honestly what I powered a lot of my week into, is honing in on that energy and being okay with it.
Wonderful.
That's
Bravo.
That's good.
Yeah.
You
I'm
can
happy
tell.
to know you.
There's like a whole glow about you. I'm like, what happened this week?
I'm working. I'm working, and I want to liberate. I want to liberate myself from. I want financial freedom. I want to increase my health, and those things are hand in hand. So just really feeding myself with the right things.
Yeah,
for
I
you.
love it.
For you.
I love it. I have a feeling that you're going to be speaking to a lot of people in our audience this week. So thank you for your share. Yeah. Okay, Miss Shonda. Shonda Supreme.
Oh yes, the Supreme Diva. So, I mean, I've got a lot of stuff going on, but I think the biggest thing for me this week is I took a cooking class.
Oh, wow.
And nothing
Did you learn how to cook something?
Yeah, well, so before COVID, I didn't cook.
I don't cook either.
Yeah, I mean, so you know how it goes.
I'm a domesticated. I'm not. That's
No,
what you said.
no.
I'm not a domesticated.
I'm not a
either.
domesticated
I
female.
I hate smart things.
Yes.
She don't like us.
So what kind of cooking class did you take? What did you learn?
I took it with Laura over at Nothing to It. It was called Taste of Southern Italy, and it was amazing. Yeah. So for me, I got into cooking during COVID because I couldn't shoot concerts. I'm a concert photographer, and so when I'm in the pit and I'm shooting a show, I go into the zone, right? And I'm addicted to that more so than I am what's going on the stage. Excuse me, though I have photographed really great talent. So when COVID hit and that wasn't going on, I just started like going on the Tasty app and cooking and all that stuff. And kind of out of necessity because restaurants were closed. And so.
Survival.
Yeah, survival. So then I started getting kind of into that zone. And I started like cooking. Then I was doing Whole30 and I'm all into it. Da, 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 da. And so I was having coffee with God one morning and I was like, oh, Father, I just love this cooking. This is helping me so much, continue to show me. And I realized, God led me, that this cooking has helped me with my food addiction.
Yep.
Because I realized, look at chills. Right. I realized that part of the not cooking was, because I'm in recovery anyways, it's like a heroin addict. You're not going to go, I'm not in recovery of heroin. Nothing wrong with that, but I'm an alcoholic. So as an alcoholic, for instance, I'm in recovery. Yeah. I'm not going to go to a bar, right? Because I'll drink. I could possibly drink. So I think food for me was kind of the same thing. If I learned to cook, I might be gorging again. I might be gorging. I might be doing all the other stuff that I did because I don't know if I'm bulimic, but I gorge and then I starve, and then I gorge and then I starve, and then I gorge, and it's on and on and on. So how wonderful for me that God led me to that answer. Like, that's why you weren't cooking. I'm giving you that peace now that you were getting in the concerts. You're getting that now when you're cooking. So I'm nourishing myself. It's just so
developed.
It's like a version of self-love too.
Yeah, it is a version of self-love because I had no idea. And this goes to how powerful God is, right? Because He will give you those answers and He will heal. So that's where I'm at. I know that cooking had something to do with my food addiction, but that's an ongoing thing, right?
But that's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Thank you
for sharing.
Yeah. I mean, I was just that's the thing about COVID. COVID was great for me in the sense that I became really close to God. I made that to be my number one thing because I wasn't going to go down in fear. No. I've been through too much.
My Instagram handle is channeling Kali. The reason I chose that is because she's the goddess of art, of destruction in life. And one thing I think about COVID, I say it was the worst and best year of my life.
Okay.
Because I learned so much. And because it made me stronger with myself, my relationship. But you took that and you defined it and you made a healthy relationship for yourself. You redefined and made a healthy relationship for yourself with food. And I can resonate with that one heavily.
I mean, it's like food addiction is so real.
It's big.
And we never talk about it, right? But we should talk more about food addiction because it's
very big.
It's a future segment coming on.
Please do, because I think that there's a lot of women that, and it has nothing to do with size.
No,
right? It's a drug, and I mean, it has taken.
Well, it
me
feels
out many
like
times.
the sadness or the excitement, because even you can be super excited and that kind of emotion and start doing things.
There's so many social norms around it too, right? We celebrate. We have cake. We have this, right? So,
absolutely.
but yes, I see a future segment. Thank you for sharing, Shonda.
That's good.
And Carrie, I know that we met you in the beginning, but as a final farewell for this episode, share with us what are you up to, in your world? And I know that you have interns that you oversee. Like you do so much for our wedding community, and you're really involved in your church. And just give us a little synopsis about what you're up to.
Yeah, so I think it kind of aligns. I think we all said something a little different, but I think the underlying thing that I'm hearing more than anything is that self-love. And our company name is She Said Yes Weddings. And I think over this last week, I keep hearing people say, well, what is She Said Yes? But they don't say weddings. And I had to stop and think, because She Said Yes Weddings is a wedding company, but we're more than a ring on the finger concept company. We really are. It's a She Said Yes concept. And I've had to explain that 2 or 3 times. And over this last week, I've sat there and I've journaled, like literally, what does She Said Yes mean in my own life? Like, what is my yes right now?
Tell us.
Yes, and for me, I heard a phrase, and I love it so much, and it says, I was put on this planet to love. Anything less than that is a disgrace. And I think for me, my yes and my revelation this week has been, I just need to love people, and I need to love them deeply, whether they're in my industry or not. No matter what's going on. But I need to, just need to love people so deeply, and anything short of that, it is a disgrace. It's a disgrace to all of us. And so for me, just having that revelation of what really She Said Yes is about, and I think that's going to be our new tagline. I really do. I think that's something that we're just going to run with and be a part of who we are.
Say it again.
So I am put on this planet to love people. Anything less than that is a disgrace.
Girl, you've been doing that since I've known you, so I don't know how this is a revelation, but I love it.
It was for me this week. So that's what I've been up to this week. It's just self-love and really learning to love people in all capacities.
Wonderful.
That's relationship.
Yeah, it is.
You can, I mean, just as she's talking, you could just, I know you didn't say God, but when you have that relationship with him, things like that just drop in you. Like as soon as you like get quiet, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
You just hear that, and I'm like, wow, she just took us to a place.
Oh, I'm glad. Yeah. I love me some Jesus.
A lot of God right here. A lot of God, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And what's so amazing is, as you were talking about the Asian community and what is going on with them, I was going to bring it up, but I could not hold back the tears, even when they said what we wanted to talk about. So, like, it's so very important that we are a representation of love.
Yes.
Like, you know, in everything we do, whether it's we're fighting for the park, whether it's fighting for our community, fighting for people who are sick, or, you know, in the beauty industry, I think that's what we brought here today. That's been the big component, is that everything that we have talked about, it's been about love, finding that love, building people, and, you know, just amazing segment. Okay, back to you, Laura.
Well, and on that topic, my update is, about supporting and loving on an industry that has really been overlooked. So last week I shared that, you know, I've been kind of on this self-reflection journey. I haven't been super vocal on Instagram. I've been really processing a lot and going, what is my message? But this week I got on Facebook and I actually did a post. And I felt very strongly that this needed to happen. I'm in the salon industry, and we are an industry that's been overlooked for the last 10 months. We haven't had an update from our governor, Sisolak, and unfortunately, you know, we're held to a lot of restrictions that a lot of other industries aren't. So right now, today, in salons, there are no waiting areas. You can only have one guest per service provider getting a service. So that is just crazy. I mean, you go to a restaurant, one server can serve how many tables, right? And we talk about waiting areas. You go to the airport, there's waiting areas, doctor's offices. You can ride in a plane where they're, you know, packed in like sardines, but we still have to have dividers between our stations or every other chair. And unfortunately, it's something where the cosmetology board that oversees these mandates is saying that they're not going to change it until the governor changes it. Well, the governor, I mean, it's sad to say, but he doesn't view us as important. Otherwise, he would have already included us. So I did a post this week on social media. I hope that you share it, that you like it, that you advocate for your fellow hairstylists, your fellow nail technicians, whoever it is in the beauty industry, because this is affecting our ability to create food on our tables for our families. It's affecting our income. We're operating at half capacity right now. If you can only see one client in your chair, most people see two. So 10 months is long enough. So if if you're in conversation with your local Reno City Council, with anyone in government, with, just anyone who could be an influencer, please talk about and advocate for your fellow salon industry.
Yes.
We are 60,000 people strong in Nevada, and we need to unite our voices and, not let us go unheard anymore.
Yeah.
So why isn't the cosmetology board doing more for you?
They said that they're not because of the governor. So they keep deferring to the governor's office, and then the governor's office obviously is not doing anything for us right now. So I have a feeling that's going to change now that we are starting to speak out. So, because you think about it, our industry is so, we're made up of a lot of independent people, right? There's independent micro businesses doing their thing. We don't realize how powerful we are, and when we bring our voices together, that we do have something to say, and we should be taken into account. And so that's what I'm just trying to do. I'm trying to be that epicenter of like, hey, you guys, let's speak up. Enough is enough. Like, we've gone 10 months waiting and waiting and waiting, and now we need to do something so that we can move forward. I mean, there are 21 states so far that are completely open. No masks, no anything, right? And here we are in our salon in Reno, Nevada, with no waiting area, with only one person per service provider, do you know how
with no
hard,
science behind it.
No
you know how
science
hard that
behind
is
it.
for a business owner to weather those costs?
Yeah.
You know, and then having the dividers, and we have, you know, furniture and storage.
It sounds
so
like you're
all
having
this
to
is
spend more
crazy.
money to maintain your business than
While making not enough money.
Making not enough money. Like that's just
yeah. And then the hardest thing is for salons too is, you know, one of our biggest moneymaker is retail. So we're already up against it with the pandemic and COVID, teaching people to buy things online, right? Why are they going to buy it from a local store when they can buy it online? But then you add on top of that we're seeing half the traffic.
Yeah.
I mean, our retail sales are being decimated. So thank you for taking the time to listen to my weekly update. I will definitely share updates. I'm really hoping that we'll get some traction. I tagged, you know, Hillary Sheevy. I tagged so many of the Reno City Council. I'm really looking forward to hearing from them. We have a Salon Owners Association that we're getting together, and we're just doing what we can to make this happen.
well,
and,
we're here to support you.
Thank you.
Absolutely, like your tribe of women.
Thank you.
We got you.
Thank you. And for you watching, thank you for joining our tribe of women, supporting us. We hope that you'll tune in next week for Girl Time in Reno. Thank you for joining us, and you guys have a lovely week. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, you too, Boo.